With the vivid blooms of autumn now faded from Fat Pig Farm, winter has set in as Tassie becomes a land of single-digit temperatures, triple-digit rainfalls and chilled-out misty mornings. Of course, when you've got a restaurant to run and a farm to tend, our mornings tend to get busy fast.
Come on.
He should be hungry. I haven't fed him. Like these pigs, you could feed them all day and they'd still go at that trough.
I know.
Between grazing our paddocks and powering through all our food waste from the kitchen, keeping this lot in food is a constant challenge, so I'm always on the lookout for free pig feed. And it just so happens that in winter, the giant English oak at the local school drops something that's supposed to produce incredible tasting pork.
So I've always wanted to finish my pigs on acorns. They do it in parts of Europe, and found this beautiful big old oak tree near Cygnet. I'm gonna load up some sacks with acorns, finish my pigs on them, see if it tastes any better. I could just take all of this, leaves and all, and feed it to the pigs and they'd find the acorns, but I'm slightly worried that there's some poisonous mushrooms in here, so I'm picking out the acorns. Once when I was in Spain, I was eating this amazing ham, and apparently it was all due to the acorns. It makes the fat of the hamon taste fragrant, sweet, melting like butter. The only difference is they actually get the pigs to do the foraging for them. They put their pigs into these old oak forests. Seems sensible right now. There we go. A very full bag of acorns. Fatten a pig, see if it makes any difference.
My name is Matthew Evans. After years as a big city food critic, I bought a farm in Tasmania to better understand what I eat by growing it myself. I built a restaurant right at the top of the farm, but now I want to get a better understanding of what I eats. This means starting from the ground up to improve the health of our soil, our farm, and our food for generations to come. From foodie to farmer to chef to rehabilitator of the land, how hard can it be? I think the true beauty of living in Tassie and farming this land to provide for our restaurant is that we get to share the fruits of our labours with other people every single week. It makes all the hard work worth it.
There we are. There we are, we're in. And you can also see the horizons.
And during winter, we host a hands-on sausage making and cured meat workshop for guests who want to understand how we raise and cure our own pork.
So I've been in Spain where they have the acorn-fed pigs producing the incredible Spanish ham, jamon, and they get an inch of white mould on the outside, and they're really proud of it. They reckon the roots of those moulds are going right into the ham and producing the incredible fragrance. You want to get some white mould? Take a brie or a camembert and just rub it on a little bit of the fat, and you can kick off that process.
Guest speaker today, James Mele from the Meat Room, is a master of traditional Italian sausage techniques.
So just getting those spices through, getting the mix through, and getting the proteins to work so they bind without the use of binders.
When we run these classes, our philosophy is not to waste any part of our animals, so the highlight of the workshop is always what we eat afterwards.
These are just the bones from the pig. And the idea is this old Italian tradition, you boil the bones up while you're making the salami and the prosciutto, and then you can just take these bits off. Oh yeah, they're falling off. Very complex broth, salt, water. And I think we put a bay leaf in there. So it's just the pure taste of pork. It's just delicious. Can't wait to try it a bit later. Oh. Looks pretty grim though. So this is a beautiful dish inspired by the old people of Italy. Boiled bones, and you just find the nice bits of meat off there, have it with your salsa verde.
Lunches like this are the end result of all our efforts to grow our meat and vegetables as naturally as possible.
And then to James, thank you. Amazing. A couple of days.
Thank you.
But nothing would get from our paddocks to these plates without good soil. And after having our soil fertility tested some time ago, the results are finally in.
Hey Garth, it's Matthew from Fat Pig. I'm just ringing about those soil tests.
So, yeah, interesting. So the third paddock, which is that south-facing paddock you said, that's probably the least fertile of the lot. Got really low phosphorus, low pH.
So quite acidic?
Yeah, quite acidic. So that just won't be as naturally productive as the other ones.
No worries. All right, well, we can keep an eye on that over the next few years.
Yeah, and otherwise everything else looks kind of as you'd expect for a sort of untreated paddock.
All right, thanks for that, Garth. Cheers, boy. Oh, that's heartening. Gardens, you know, what you'd expect a garden to be doing. Heaps of organic matter, doing really well, a little bit high in sodium, and which maybe comes from the water. But the thing that we didn't know about, we've never tested before, are the paddocks, and finding out that they actually are, like we'd expect. The one he said was low fertility is the one that doesn't really grow a lot of grass. The other ones are doing pretty well. So maybe if we moved our pigs around, maybe we could be getting, increasing the phosphorus levels in those paddocks while resting the pig paddocks. Project for another day, maybe.
In general, we've kept our mob of Wessex saddleback pigs in the same few paddocks through the year, and they have a pretty good life. But the reality is, we raise them to be enjoyed at the table. And because of the restaurant, we send about 5 pigs a month to the abattoir. The one thing we're never short of is fresh pork. So Sunday night is always rib night for the family.
Yeah, I've got the fire lit. When it's hot, I actually want to cook some ribs long and slow. We end up with a lot of pork ribs. We have a lot of bacon, we have a lot of ham, but out of the bacon, you always end up with these ribs, so I've got a freezer full of them, and I want to try out a recipe. Anyway, so, really, really easy. First thing I want to do is grate a little bit of garlic. So crushed garlic is what I'm after. So I find that rather than peel the garlic and then crush it, if you just grate it, you can put it through a fine side of a grater. Skin ends up on one side, garlic on the other. So I find with pork ribs, pork generally, you don't want to be shy with the garlic, so use as many cloves as you'd like, and then add 2. This is our tomato passata. You can just use pureed tinned tomatoes, or buy passata. You can buy passata in pretty much every supermarket in Australia, I reckon, now. About that much. A bit of mustard. You can just use a French-style mustard. This is one we've made ourselves. And then this is probably the thing that's really going to lift it is a little bit of homemade tomato sauce, and that's got about 3 years age, so it's actually getting really deep flavour. A couple of tablespoons, but should be enough. This is Grandad's vinegar. This is homemade vinegar, so it's quite strong. Just a splash. Rub the marinade all over the ribs, taking the mustard, making sure the garlic and mustard go right through everything. You can marinate the ribs ahead of time if you like, but because they're cooking long and slow, you don't get a lot of advantage out of that. I reckon these are going to take at least a couple of hours in the oven. I'm going to put paper and foil over the top. The reason I use a baking paper is it helps the meat to steam a bit better. A lot less liquid comes out, a lot less steam comes out, particularly because I'm using an acid-based sauce. The tomato has acid in, and that can actually eat little holes in the foil and more steam escapes. Means my foil doesn't have to be as tight either. Might just sneak a little more water in there, just to make sure it doesn't dry out. If you're marinating this, you can leave it like that for 2-3 days before you cook it, but I can cook this straight away as soon as the oven's ready. It smells terrific, and most of the marinade is gone. So I pulled it out of the oven twice, marinated it twice, and now that's ready to go. Okay. You ready for it?
Oh, napkin. Got some potatoes.
Oh, you got. How much out of 10 would these go?
It'll be a 7.
7? Mum's ribs are a 10, Dad's ribs are a 7. All right. Gonna eat these. Pretend you're Spanish. Hola. And now we're really focused on soil. And so, how often do you have to move them around to keep it looking a bit like this?
We generally shift into a new paddock once a month.
The key to realising our plans for Fat Pig Farm over the next 12 months lies in nurturing our soil so that it's healthy and fertile. But now that we've had our earth tested, I know that our pig paddocks are really low in minerals. So I've moved these guys into some lush new winter digs, giving the soil in their old paddocks 6 months of pig-free rehab. But to grow this mob big enough to supply the restaurant, we need large amounts of food for them. So I want to try them out on the acorns I gathered in town.
I doubt they're going to share nicely, so I might put some in the tray and some on the ground. I know. Gonna eat these? Pretend you're Spanish. Hola. Hola, pigs. Well, they like them. I once went to Spain and they told me that the only pigs in the world that love acorns and can eat acorns are the black-footed pigs, the pata negra, that produce the amazing jamón of Spain. I think all pigs probably love acorns. It's just that they happen to fatten theirs on acorns. So the theory is you feed them on a finishing diet, and whatever you finish them on gives the meat flavour and character. And so I'll finish them on acorns over the next 3 weeks at least.
Now, with the soil in our pig paddocks testing low in minerals like phosphorus, I really need to think about some sustainable ways to reintroduce organic nutrients to our patches of depleted earth. And I think our chooks may have a big part to play, because chickens don't urinate, which makes their poo especially rich in phosphorus and the world's best animal manure. So I'm off on a little road trip about 3 hours north to meet Phil Glover, a Tassie chook farmer who's figured out an ingenious way to distribute that beautiful poo evenly around his farm.
G'day, Matthew.
How are you?
Yeah, Phil, pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm in the right place then.
Oh, you sure are.
Oh, these are the mobile pens.
Yeah, they are. They're basically a sled, pretty much. Yeah, we took on with a tractor and moved them to the next site.
Yeah, right. So they're on wheels or are they just on a sled?
No, they're on poles, pine poles in the shape of a sled, like a runner.
Yep.
Yeah, I got the idea off watching some nomads in Mongolia. They were dragging their houses around like it.
Oh, right.
So I was sitting there watching that. I thought,
If you can drag a house, you should be
yeah,
able
why
to
not
drag
drag a
chook
chook
house.
shed? Yeah, yeah.
So when they're in one place for too long, they create dust baths. We had it in our old farm. We'd have
Yep.
like furrows like that where they would scratch down. And now we're really focused on soil and keeping ground cover. And so how often do you have to move them around to keep it looking a bit like
We generally
this?
shift into a new paddock once a month.
Yep.
But once we're in that paddock, we try and move the chooks about once a week.
Yep.
Each of these sheds are self-contained. They've all got water. Usually have enough feed for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
The chooks enter from the other side, lay their eggs on the astroturf.
That's just brown astroturf.
Yeah, it, like reduces your cracks, keeps the eggs clean, as you can see.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a real problem for us, is dirty eggs all the
Yeah.
time.
Phil fashioned these Mongolian-inspired chook sheds out of stuff he found lying around the farm. While they're a brilliant concept, they're probably a bit too big for what we need. But find a farmer who's come upon a clever idea and you're bound to see it reused in lots of different ways.
Yeah, so these are just a daily move pen. We move these every day. They've got no floor in them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so we just grow birds out in these.
And no laying boxes, no.
No,
So these are just for
Yep.
growing hens
Yep.
or
Yep.
meat hens.
Yeah.
So the whole thing just drags along.
Yeah, we just got 2 short. They move pyramids with it. Rocks
Yeah.
in it.
So
we
you
just
just
chuck those into there.
Put them under
Yep.
there and then just roll it
Yeah,
over
just
until it comes out
lift
the other
this
end.
up, whack one of them under there.
Yeah.
And then you just pull it.
Oh, she's heavy enough. Right, not quite what I need if I'm going to have laying hens.
Yep. We've got this version here, which might be a bit more suitable, Matthew. A bit more room in there, but I'd probably still think if you're going to be doing layers, probably have it a bit higher.
Yep. And what's the outside? This just...
That's just shade cloth and some greenhouse plastic underneath.
Oh, so yeah, okay, so the plastic...
We've got another couple others there that we've put that silver paper under it.
Yep.
Yeah, I could probably build one of these in a short day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, if you've got the materials there, yeah.
Oh, it'll only take me a week.
I took me a while the first one or two.
You wouldn't generally think that a chook farm would be inspiring, but Phil's free-range sheds have really got me thinking.
I've always wanted to see pastured poultry, whether it's eggs or meat birds, actually having them on fresh grass all the time. I love the elegance of the system. I just want to see if we can do something like that at our place. How heavy's your end?
Yeah, pretty heavy.
Oh, they're fantastic. Fragrant, the sweet pork. Anyway, you won't need this one.
Organic farming is all about working in harmony with your animals and land. So the idea of using our chickens' poo to repair the soils our pigs have damaged is a good one. But raising those pigs for your own restaurant is another good example of how sustainable farming can work. The pigs eat all our food waste, and in return, there's lots of pork for our menus. Of course, it's what you do with that pork that keeps the restaurant and farm humming along. So while I'm still up north, I've heard about a family in the Sheffield area who've been raising pork for their own restaurant for 16 years.
Hey, mate.
G'day, Matthew. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Yeah.
This is so beautiful.
We've got 150 acres.
Wow. It's more than double our place.
Alex Zhao and his family are renowned in northern Tasmania for running one of the state's best Chinese eateries. And while the beef and chicken they supply their restaurant in town with are very popular, the pork dumplings that Alex's mum serves up are the stuff of local legend. So I've dropped in to see if they could be a good addition to our menu back on the farm.
What sort of dumplings are they? Like a Xinjiang style, or are they more like
Just a traditional Chinese style.
Jiaozi?
Boiled, yeah, jiaozi, yeah.
I tried making them once. They were rubbish. Can you show me how to do it?
Yeah. My mum, she's a master of dumplings.
You reckon she'd be better than you?
Oh, she's always better than me. I love her cooking.
That's the right answer. All right,
Yeah.
let's go.
All right.
Dumplings are a winter staple in most parts of northern China. And the recipe Alex's mother Sonia uses is a favourite in her native Xinjiang, which borders Mongolia.
And so this is just flour?
Just flour, yeah.
So a good fresh but
Beautiful.
white flour?
Yeah.
And then just water, and what else?
Just water, no, nothing else.
No oil?
No.
No pork fat?
No.
No salt?
No.
So how much water to how much flour?
Normally, and I put in the 3 cups flour.
Yep.
If we put in the water, just 1.5. Use your hand now.
My hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And just mix it up.
Mix it up.
You should have made these benches a bit higher.
If you like, put in here, it's a lot easier.
Is it?
Yeah.
Just tip it out on the bench?
Yeah. Yeah, easy way.
Oh, it's coming together now. I can feel it. There we go.
Yeah. Put in the 5 minutes, we're doing again.
And then we'll do it again?
Yeah.
So how many times do we have to do that?
3 times is best.
All right. Should we make the filling?
Filling? Yeah. Make a filling now.
With the dough resting, it's time for the filling. And Alex's dad, Victor, has ground up some of their own pork, along with some Australian prawns.
Diced up?
And we put in this salt,
Yeah.
sugar, chicken powder.
So chicken powder's like a chicken stock powder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 5 spice.
Oh, yum.
And soy sauce,
See, these are all measured.
oyster sauce,
Do you want me to grab? I'll grab that out because you don't want to miss out on any of that yummy goodness.
and oyster sauce.
There you go. And that one as well.
Yeah.
I can little bit help you to this stuff.
You can help me.
Yeah,
That'll be good.
because always
Some white.
Well, you need to stir it in one direction. Maybe you should.
Yeah, that's fine.
And it changes the texture, the stirring in one direction. You've done this before, Victor.
As it's quite a wet mixture, typically you'd refrigerate it overnight to harden up. Then it's just a matter of some good olive oil and finely chopped chives and wombok.
Okay.
So the chives and Chinese cabbage are in volume the same amount as the mince. It looked like that.
That's true.
Wow, look at that. Okay.
Yeah.
Portioning the dumpling dough is a bit like making gnocchi, actually. It'd probably take me 4 times as long to do it right. So I'll let the experts take over.
So smear it on the middle. So that looks easy.
But when it comes to the filling and rolling, I had to try my hand.
What do you reckon? Out of 10?
Looks like an army.
Well, I take that as a compliment.
With the dumplings in the pan, the idea is to first fry them in oil and then add water and cover them to steam for a few minutes until they've got a crispy bottom, soft top and juicy filling.
So I've got more experience of, I guess, the fill pasta, like Italian style. But they're similar in that they take all afternoon to make and then people spend about 4 seconds eating.
Yep.
That's true.
Just take 6 at a time, so...
As many as you want.
As many as you want.
We have got them all.
Oh, my God.
Nice.
Good? Yeah, fantastic.
That's it.
Oh, wow. Fragrant. The sweet pork. The vegetable. I looked at that and I was thinking it was
fresh.
going to be really cabbagey, but it's not at all.
Yeah.
Just sweet.
Yeah, we like eating it. Yeah, really nice.
Anyway, you won't need this one.
I hate you, man.
Oh, thank you so much.
With our pigs moved into their fresh winter home, the soil in their old paddocks needs time to find its fertility again. But now, I've got a plan to help those paddocks.
Got pretty inspired by Phil's mobile chicken coops, and I was going to build one over maybe that Rio, the concrete reinforcing wire, but then we found this and thought what he was doing was using stuff that was lying around his farm. This has been lying around my farm for a couple of years. Might as well use that as a chicken coop. Oh, how big is it, Phil?
About 2,300 by 1,650.
Perfect. That's room for about 800 chooks. You don't seem very confident. I'm very confident. This is going to be brilliant, Phil.
Yeah.
I say he's building one from scratch.
Definitely.
OK, I think our chooks' music tastes lean more to country than heavy metal.
How heavy's your end?
Yeah, pretty heavy.
But when it comes to their accommodation, this old ute cage will make them feel like rock stars.
So I reckon it's always going to roll once we get the roof on.
Up the hill.
Uphill. And
Stage right.
beautiful.
With a bit of corrie added for shelter and shade cloth to give the girls some privacy, of course.
Thought I'd see how hard it is to move before I put the chooks in. So.
The idea will be to use a few old pine posts like this one to move the shed into small patches of damaged soil that really need a good dose of nutritious chook poo. It literally glides across the ground.
As long as it's downhill.
Now with my range-roving chook shed looking good, all I need is a couple of volunteer test pilots. And that's another little idea to help our soil. Done and ready to roll into action with no need for chemical fertilisers.
There we go.
It may seem a little naive to think that simple little ideas like this are going to make any difference to the world. But right now, small farms of about 25 acres or less feed 70% of people on Earth.
Oh, hello. 2 eggs.
So with the world's population headed for 10 billion by 2050, every lesson I can learn on giving something back to the Earth that feeds us is an investment in my family's future and, in a small way, even our planet's.
I'm an artist. My medium is steel.
This is a really rustic little setup that we've got going on here.
That's amazing. Oh, happy birthday.